Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, should we be surprised most Packers fans opted not to join arms during Thursday night's national anthem? Plus, Skip and Shannon explain why the Cowboys could fall victim to an upset against the Rams on Sunday. And does Bears linebacker Danny Trevathan deserve to be suspended for his big hit on Packers wideout Davante Adams? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. The Packers blew out the Bears 35-14 last night at Lambeau behind 4 touchdown passes by Aaron Rodgers. But one of the biggest stories of the night took place before the game. Earlier this week, Packers players sent out a statement asking fans at the game to join them in linking arms during the anthem. But reportedly, only small groups of fans joined in the stands. Rodgers talked about it after the game. Let's take a listen.
It was an invitation to join us. Beauty is it's a free country, so they can choose to do it or not. The messaging of this, unfortunately, needs to continue to be redirected, I think. It's never been about the national anthem. It's never been about the military. We're all patriotic in the locker room. We love our troops. This is about something bigger than that, an invitation to show unity in the face of some divisiveness from the top in this country. We could hear some USA chants as it started. It's fantastic. Could also hear some negativity being yelled during the anthem. Semantics there, right? What's disrespectful to the anthem? Yelling things during it, or standing at attention with arms locked facing the flag? Let you decide.
Martellus Bennett added, "It's just some bleeps yelling, put your hand on your heart." That's all I heard. Someone kept saying, put your hand on your heart, put your hand on your heart. It's like, back the bleep up. We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings, who spent 7 years in Green Bay. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, good morning.
Were you surprised by the crowd's reaction?
I was surprised. I was surprised of the minimal participation. And here's why. Let's say there has been no protest. Let's just say there's, just for the sake of argument, there's been no protest taking place. There's been no act of demonstration of protest. If this was an ask that was presented to the fans, would they have an issue with it? Would we be hearing the obscenities that well, I didn't hear them, but what Aaron and Martellus is saying they heard during them just standing, locking arms? Would it have been a real issue to do this? And my answer to that is no. I mean, we saw fans, they panned the stadium. We saw hats on with a salute. We saw people just standing without their hands over their heart. We saw some locked arms. We saw a variation, none of which we would say they're disrespecting the flag or they're being disrespectful. But because they're asked to do something after they've seen what others have taken a knee for, what they have put up a fist for, all these different demonstrations, if you will, now all of a sudden, anything you do, if it's not a hand over the heart or if it's not in connection or conjunction with what has been taking place as far as the demonstrations, it's problematic. It's offensive. And I say that's wrong. Aaron hit the nail on the head. We need to redirect this to the issue, which is not the flag. It's not the national anthem.
Not the military.
It's none of those things. It's the racial injustices and just social injustices, period, that have been taking place for years, hundreds of years. And it has to stop. But what this shows me is there is a common ground. And we as Americans are not willing to come to that common ground because we don't really want equality for all. We don't.
I was sitting over here and I was thinking, and it really dawned on me why a vast majority of these people didn't do what Aaron asked them to do. Because by doing that, what are you doing? You're acknowledging that there is a problem. See, if I don't acknowledge it, I don't believe it exists, and maybe it will go away. Think about it, because you mentioned if you didn't know about the protest and Aaron Rodgers would have just asked you to join arms, say, guys, this is going to be a tough game. We're playing our rivals, the Chicago Bears, and this is for an opportunity for us to, for the very first time since 1932, if we win this game, we will have more victories than our rivals. So we want to, during the national anthem, I want us to lock arms. Guarantee you everybody locks arms. But because he asked you to lock arms and show solidarity for what the issue in which Colin Kaepernick was trying to do, by doing that, you're acknowledging that there is a problem and you understand it and you see it. So by not doing that, you're like, ain't no problem going on. I'm going to go on by do my thing. I love how people change the meaning. They say, well, the flag represents this and this. And so my question to all those patriots that love the flag, can someone tell me what did the flag represent during slavery, Reconstruction, and Jim Crow South? Did it represent the exact same things then as it does today? Or has the flag changed its meaning over some 200 odd years? Because I need to know. Because if it was a symbol then, it's a symbol now. So did we lose the meaning of what the flag actually means from then to now? I just need to know that. I just need to know, are we looking at patriotism only through the eyes of a select few? Because if you notice, they talk about the fan base and you upset the sponsors. Well, damn, I guess there ain't no black fans and blacks don't participate. Skip, that's my only thing. We change, we'll, oh, the flag. Okay, but what about the flag during these gloom periods of American history? Well, it didn't mean that. What do you mean? So you mean to tell me you can change the meaning of a flag, of the symbol that's been since 1776? You mean to tell me you can change the meaning like that? Oh, okay, interesting take. For me, what it told me, Greg and Skip, and I talked about this earlier, it shows me that a vast segment of our society don't give a damn about this issue, because they're unaffected by it.
Absolutely.
And so they don't have the empathy or compassion. You can have empathy and compassion for a flood victim because you can see yourself, because that's indiscriminate. It's not like, well, he got a $2 million house, so I'm not gonna flood that. The water says, that's a $2 million house, so I'm not gonna flood that one, but I'm gonna go over here to this house that's $50,000, $60,000. That's not how it thinks. That's not how it happens. But you can't see yourself being discriminated against or brutalized by the police. You're less likely to have empathy if you can't see yourself or someone you actually know in a very similar situation. So I was cautiously optimistic, Skip, but I'm not surprised by this, because the narrative is what it is and they hide behind that. Patriotism, flag, military. And that's not what we're trying to direct the narrative and paint this to be.
Yeah. Yesterday and the day before, the three of us discussed what was going to happen at Lambeau Field. And you thought, and you really thought, that we'd see virtually 82,000 people locking arms. Because the great Aaron Rodgers, who was the mayor and the governor and the president of Packer Nation, he called it an invitation. It came across to me like an order in a nice way. Right. But he's saying, let's do this. And usually when Aaron Rodgers says, let's do this, and then I saw an editorial that ran yesterday in the Green Bay Press-Gazette with the headline, "Let's link arms at tonight's Packers game for justice, unity, and country." So even the local newspaper is campaigning, let's all go do this together.
Right.
And you know, and I certainly have come to know, Packer Nation loves that team as much as any fandom loves its team.
Absolutely.
And so we had even Martellus and Lance Kendrick saying, we want to make everybody make a choice here. And it came across, I told you, it's a little bit dangerous, but you're kind of saying us or them, sort of, are you with the black players on your Packers team or are you not? And they're going to have to make this choice virtually on national TV, because the camera's going to sweep and pan and you're going to see what's happening. And silly me, I thought I'd see about 82,000 locking arms. And I saw just the opposite of that.
Absolutely.
I saw a few small pockets. It looked more up in the front rows of some locked arms, but it would be like 4 or 5 in a row. And then I'd see vast reaches of the stadium. to your point, where people were standing, some hands over heart, and then some people were almost sort of rebelling against the whole notion on the field. They're doing this, right? Nope. So they voted no. Again, Donald Trump won the state of Wisconsin in the election, and it felt to me like he won it again last night. And I'm going to rile up Shannon again when I say this, but it's like heartland patriotism on display, for better or for worse, but that's what we were seeing last night. And it rocked me because I was convinced, I was right there with you guys, I thought we were going to see a united display. Maybe it's not just for the Black Packers, it's for all the Packers. It's for that president attacked that league, and we're with our team. We're going to unite. We didn't see any of that. I was dumbfounded. I just sat in my chair like, what just happened? And I thought, am I overreacting because you can't on television get the full sweep of the stadium? I don't think so, because I think both of you saw what I saw, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask the question one more time.
Okay.
Because yesterday Aaron Rodgers was telling the CBS crew, please reiterate that this is not a protest. But it was always a protest. It just was.
Well, Go ahead. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
Okay,
Finish your
so
thought.
I'm back to the original message, and I have to qualify or disqualify myself because I'm white sitting at this table here. But I told you from the start, I was so behind the cause of white policemen all too often killing unarmed black men. I've been talking about it on TV for 3 years. So when Colin Kaepernick first sat for the anthem, I told him, I cringed at that. I'm a God and country guy, but I listened. My ears remained open. And when he stated why he did that, when he basically said, and help me if I'm not paraphrasing it correctly, but he said, I cannot honor a flag that represents a country that does not treat me equally. Okay, so it is about the flag and the country. That's the original, and you told me from the start, a protest requires making people very uncomfortable. That's the nature of protests in this country, and a right people have had from the start of it's the late 1700s.
Yes.
And God bless us all, like I'm good with that, because the quickest way to make white America uncomfortable is to disrespect the flag. So I thought, okay, this is an effective way to get your attention, America.
Right.
But I'm afraid he didn't, because those people last night, I think they closed their ears, their eyes, their hearts, and their minds the moment they first saw, going back a year and X months ago, they saw Colin Kaepernick kneel or sit for the national anthem. They said, we're out.
Skip.
Like, I'm not going to hear what your cause is after that.
A protest should be uncomfortable for the people attention you're trying to garner.
Yeah.
And I don't need you to choose a side. I just need to ask you this. Are you or are you not for equality?
Yeah.
Are you or are you not
That's
for
the
racial?
essence of this.
That's it. Ain't no this or that.
Right.
Are you or are you not?
Got it.
Well, it actually did not surprise me at all that people weren't joining in on this. It's why the whole unity thing is kind of confusing to me in the first place. It's a complete distraction from the actual protest. But it shows, like I wasn't surprised that Donald Trump won the election. People say one thing when they're in public, and then in the private, they reveal their hearts when this is a perfect example of it. You have an opportunity to do something as simple as link arms with the person next to you, just to show that you're for inclusion, show that you're not racist, and you're not sexist, and you're not against other people's religions, and it's just a simple thing, and that's too much for you. So it was not surprising. No mercy. This is the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. Before the show moves along, I want to tell you about my favorite new app called Draft. If you love fantasy football, then you need to try the Draft app. It's weekly fantasy football, but not like the other guys. On Draft, you play real live snake drafts with other people, just like in your season-long league. But here's the twist. It's a draft that lasts for just 1 week, and there's no management. Just set it and forget it. Once you're done drafting, that's it. No trades, no waiver wire. Draft even takes care of last-minute injuries for you. And if you didn't win 1 week, on the Draft app, you can start all over for next week. Drafts take about 5 minutes to do, and they start every couple minutes, so you can join one right now. And the best part, play for cold, hard cash. Draft starts from just $1, so there's a draft for everyone. Come join me on Draft today. Download the app anytime. Just search Draft in your app store and join a game in minutes, or play right from your computer on playdraft.com, whatever you want. For a limited time only, all new players get a free entry into Draft when you make your first deposit, but you have to use my promo code UNDISPUTED. That's right. Play a real money game for free just using my promo code UNDISPUTED on your first deposit on Draft. Just search Draft in the App Store or go to playdraft.com and come play free with promo code UNDISPUTED.
No mercy.
Lions defensive tackle Akeem Spence was among 8 Detroit players who kneeled during the anthem last weekend. After the game, Spence said his decision was an opportunity to, quote, stand up for what's right. But yesterday, Spence tweeted, got some awful news from my father. A contractor denied giving him a job on doing a house because of my peaceful protests. Hashtag shaking my head. We're joined by Rob Parker, who covered the Lions in Detroit for many years. Welcome, Rob.
What's happening? Good morning.
What's your Detroit? Yes. What's your reaction?
It's unjust as, you know, these things go, but I'm not surprised. It is what it is, and Shannon, here's during a struggle, any kind of struggle, there's going to be sacrifice.
Yep.
And it's always about who's willing to take the money. That's where the term, like people selling out, like taking the money and ignoring what's right and just to get along and just to move forward. This is the trick. This is how this has been able to go on because people are so not willing to sacrifice. There's always a sacrifice and a struggle. So here's one of them. And that's why I say it is what it is. Maybe you don't even want that money. You move on to the next job. And maybe there are people who hear this and say, I'll hire you or I'll give you an opportunity, because when you're talking about a peaceful protest and not doing anything wrong, it's hard for me to look at the person who's trying to hurt you and have any respect for them or worry about them. You just got to move on and let that guy or let those people do what they do. And if they feel good with that and they're comfortable with it, that's fine. But they can't change what's right. And that's what Akeem was saying in his statement. Right is right. You never have to apologize for talking about injustices or equality or being treated fairly. If that's wrong, then the old song, I don't want to be right. Mm-hmm. And that's just how it is. So I'm not surprised, Joy, about how this is going down, but you just have to fight through it. You can't let it stop what you're trying to accomplish, which is equality and being treated fairly.
I'm not surprised at all. This happens every day. The only difference is the man doesn't have a son that plays in the NFL. He doesn't have a Twitter account that can reach hundreds of thousands. This is nothing new. This happens every day. Hashtag Make America Great. Mm-hmm. Let's be real with this, Skip. This is what we're talking about. You would deny a man a job because of something that his son did that you don't agree with. The man didn't do nothing to you. That's just like, see, and that's what I'm saying. That's like me treating Skip bad because a white guy did something to me down the street. Skip ain't do nothing to me. So why am I treating Skip bad? I got the problem with you. I got the problem with him. He got a problem with the guy's son, so I'm going to take it out on you. But this happens all the time. It is not necessarily race-related. It might be gender-related. Mm-hmm. It might be religious-related. Mm-hmm. But we have issues.
You know that.
That a lot of people, America's not great. It's not perfect. I get it. So since it's not perfect, can we try to work on some of these imperfections? So let me tell you what's going on. Let me tell you what I think we should be able to do. Skip, this is shameful. And the guy has no shame that did it. He has no couth, no morals. He don't care. Remember, I said it. It goes to show you more people than we think cares less about this issue than maybe we even previously thought. I know what they say publicly. Because, Skip, you get the camera and you're I know there's racism that exists, and I know the gender equality is not what it's supposed to be. And then they slam the door. I don't give a damn about that. I'm fine.
Right. Because it doesn't affect them or their family.
I'm good over here. So, but this is what happens. Sometimes people have to sacrifice things for the betterment of all. Mm-hmm. And hopefully this doesn't impact him. Because I know how he's thinking. When my brother went to the NFL, Skip, my mom didn't stop working. My grandmother still cleaned houses. She's like, that's them boys' money. But to think, this guy's trying to make a living. He's not trying to live off his son. He's like, well, I'm closing up my shop.
He's got his own right. He's got his own job in life. Absolutely.
Boy, this is. But I'm not surprised.
But I can say this. I bet you his dad is proud of him from the standpoint that it's still about his son. He raised his son right to believe in what's right is right and it's worth fighting for. Somebody's little paycheck or money or whatever, you just have to make that up.
Right.
That's all from somewhere else.
Maybe a bigger job will come along, and he'd have been tinkering around with this little job, and he'd have missed out on the big job.
So I'm just going to guess here that Akeem Spence's father worked as sort of an independent contractor,
Contractor,
working on building homes or remodeling homes, whatever, and that he had often bragged on his son, as he certainly has a right to do, 'cause
Right.
he's playing for the Detroit Lions, and the father lives in, assume, right? He's
Right.
from Detroit?
That I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Okay.
No,
That's
they're
Florida.
from Walton Beach. That's
right.
where they're
Florida.
from.
Florida.
That took place. You're right.
Florida.
Okay. So the point is that all of a sudden the bragging on your son turned around on you, and the guy who's hiring you says, "Wait a second, I'm not going to hire you. Your son disrespected the flag." I assume that's what he's thinking. So here's where my sympathy lies for Akeem Spence. He knelt on Sunday, not exactly for the reason Colin Kaepernick originally knelt. Akeem and his teammates were responding to our president's blast on Friday night.
Right.
So it took on a little different form of protest because you got branded as a son of a,
Right.
Right.
And so it's a little different issue now. You're just defending your
honor.
sport, your honor of your sport against that man. And so he did it not thinking, oh, I could sacrifice maybe my job or who knows, my father's job.
Right.
That wasn't in his consciousness when he knelt, right? But now back to your point, you always say the very nature of a protest is to make people uncomfortable.
Yep.
But the inherent nature of a protest is you are risking
Consequences.
consequences.
Yep.
And it could mean, Colin Kaepernick, you risked your job.
Yes.
You lost your job. Wow. So now I'm going to ask you, we've been going back and forth on this, and I don't have an answer to it, but it was very interesting last night to watch what happened in Green Bay. For me, shocking, because they all voted after Aaron Rodgers asked them to vote yes for us. They voted no. Thousands of them. I don't know exactly how many, but there were only small pockets of people fans who went along with what Aaron Rodgers invited them to do, almost ordered them to do, lock arms in unity behind us. And I'm going to remind everybody that even Akeem Spence says it wasn't about the flag. Well, maybe it wasn't for him, but it was about the flag for Colin Kaepernick to begin with, because he said, if I can paraphrase, I cannot honor the flag that represents a country that does not treat me equally. That's the whole notion of
Yes.
what he was doing, because so many unarmed black men have been shot and killed by white cops. And there's been so much police brutality on the part of white cops directed toward virtually defenseless black men. This had happened again and again and again and again and again. And I'd been campaigning against it for 3 years, dating back to the show we used to do on ESPN. And so I was with Colin certainly in spirit and in message. I didn't love, I'm just a God and country guy, so I cringed when I first saw him kneel, but then it got everybody's attention. He was on the cover of Time magazine because of it. And silly me, I thought it was connecting with some white people who would keep their eyes and ears open long enough just to let the message get in. Oh yeah, okay, I get that. Even if they don't love the method with which he tried to get their attention, and it's extreme now because this is the greatest country in the world, and people do love the flag and what we've fought for over the years, for better and for worse, white people. But in the end, I'm starting to wonder, did Colin choose the wrong method of protest to the point that he just turned everybody away immediately?
Skip, I don't think it would have mattered what method. I just don't. I just think that there are a lot of people who just are uninterested, don't care about the plight of the black man, even in 2017, don't care that we had a black president, don't care that the league is 70% black, don't care, just don't care that their favorite actor that they go see, Kevin Hart, and spend their money to watch and laugh at him, don't care. That's one thing to enjoy and look at. It's a different thing to live that life.
Yep.
And I hate to say it, but here we are, and most are not interested in the black man's plight. That's why in Green Bay, they're not going to lock arms. it could be.
Because that'd be a symbol of acknowledgement.
Exactly.
See, we like symbols when it symbolizes what we want it to mean and what it wants
Although
to stand
I think
for.
they would tell you, I'm not going to disrespect the flag the way they are on
But
the
hold
field.
on, you're standing. High as standing, locked
Locking
arms,
arms,
with your hand
disrespect.
over your heart, facing the flag. How's that
Shannon's
disrespectful?
right, Skip. What it is they don't want to acknowledge that there's something wrong. From my friends who happen to be white, who I talk to, they're disgusted with the whole thing on jet. They just want it to go away.
Yes.
They don't want to hear about it. They just don't. That's what I get. Oh, here we go. You're talking about it again.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Why do you
I can't watch this. Oh, my. Can't we just talk about football? Because it hurts. Because it hurts, Skip. You saw the video yourself. It's going on. There's no. And what can you do to tell people or to have people not look at you sideways when this is going on and there's no resolve or there's nothing. So they're painted into a bad corner, and that's why they don't want to deal with it.
You notice, Rob, that the people that are in the group that's doing the discriminating against, and the people that can do something about this racial and social injustices, they never complain, but they only complain about the people that's complaining about being discriminated against.
Right.
Because this is what I know. This is what we know, Skip. Think about all the people that love the flag and support this. And when we talk about this, well, the president has freedom of speech. But Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's the press secretary, was talking about these athletes, and they shouldn't protest the flag. So he gets freedom of speech, but they don't.
It doesn't even make sense. None of it makes sense.
Of course not.
And
because if it made sense, it would make sense.
Right.
Okay, so bottom line, did Colin Kaepernick or has Colin Kaepernick had any national impact on the original cause?
He brought it to the forefront. But because we're kneeling, we're standing, we're united, we're solidarity, it's the flag, it's the anthem, and somewhere in there there's a lot. It's like if we throw all these papers in there, Skip, and we turn them upside down. Skip's notes is in there somewhere. I just don't know which one it is. And that's what we are now.
But also, I think Colin Kaepernick's had a big effect on black people. I really do. In that, I think
That's a good point.
I really do. I think, and you know what? Maybe white people aren't interested, and they don't have to get on board. But I tell you, black people know what's going on, and that's where that whole being woke and all that, people understand that there's a crisis going on. We're in a bad place.
Bad.
And people don't like it. And if you don't push back as a black person right now, Skip, you're turning the clocks back. You can't allow this and accept it and just be like, oh, well.
Are we still talking about police brutality or just
yeah,
racism
no,
in
but
general?
I'm just saying, but stemming from that.
Okay, is it possible that what Colin Kaepernick did was so extreme and so dramatic, and I think so powerful, that there are even 2 or 3 white cops somewhere in this country who now sit back and think twice about overreacting?
No, because there's no accountability. Because we still see it. We still see it happening with the killing of unarmed black men and women. Because here's the thing, Skip. They've given you, the court has given extreme latitude when it says threat real or perceived. Skip, just imagine if you could walk across the street and punch somebody in the face and say, man, I thought he was going to hit me.
I thought he was going to, right.
I mean, you walk, because that's what the police, real or Skip, do you know how broad a latitude that is if you perceive it even in your mind if it's not true?
Yep, I agree. And I must say, bottom line to what happened in Green Bay yesterday, it bothered me a little bit that Aaron Rodgers invited this show of unity, and then on the day that he gives away his tickets, he chose to give them away to the police department in Green Bay because he's saying he's playing both sides. To me, that's how it came across.
I mean, the movement isn't anti-police. It's just anti-bad police. But either way, a lot of hearts were revealed last night because they were linking arms and there were still players with their hands over their heart while they were linking arms. It was just like you said, if you link arms and you're acknowledging there's a problem, and if you acknowledge there's a problem, then you might have to actually fix it or do something about it. But all I'll say is be careful of what happens in a society when symbols and ideology become more important than your countrymen's suffering.
And I always say this too, in order to love one's country, that country must love you back. And I think
that's Colin Kaepernick's original message.
Yeah.
No mercy. Packers Bears wide receiver Davante Adams was hit hard in the helmet by Bears linebacker Danny Trevathan in the third quarter of last night's game. Adams left the field on a stretcher and was taken to the hospital, but Mike McCarthy said this morning that everything looks positive. Trevathan received an unnecessary roughness penalty, but was allowed to stay in the game. We're joined by FS1 NFL analyst Eric Dickerson. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
Eric, should Trevathan have been suspended for that hit?
Well, it's funny that last night when that hit took place, I was on the phone with Bears great Richard Dent. I was talking to him when the hit took place. And the first thing Richard said was, that's a legal hit nowadays.
I told Skip exactly.
That's the first thing he said, that's a legal hit. Should he be suspended? Yes, because of what the NFL is trying to do, with the players in today's game. The NFL first is going to try to protect the NFL. Then the players come second. So was the play a dirty shot? No, I don't think he was trying to hurt him for sure, but it happens. And that's the thing. That's the thing about that's football. Football is a contact sport. And when you're coming in, you can see, the first thing Richard said, look, he's coming in already low. He ain't going to raise up. I say, I understand that, Dan. I say, but, it's a dirty hit. He say, I know it's a dirty hit, but they shouldn't call it. I'm like, come on, how they going to call that?
That sounds just like Dent, too.
Because the thing is that, when we played, they would say, hold him up, hold him up.
Yes.
I mean, they would try to hold you up till the defenders got there, and they were trying to hit you. The thing is with Trevathan, he doesn't have a history of being a dirty player.
No. Right.
And it's the thing is you have a history. I played against players that have history. Andre Waters was a dirty player. Our guy right here on FS1, Seth Joyner. I would get on him. Seth Joyner could be dirty.
He was, played for Buddy Ryan. Yeah.
I was at a golf tournament. I didn't know who the guy was. Burfast, isn't it Burfast?
Vontez Burfast.
Vontez Burfast. I didn't know who he was. There's some older player said, boy, he dirty. I'm like, really? Oh, he's a dirty player. He played linebacker. See, you have a history. When you have a history of being dirty, it follows you no matter where.
Right. Yeah.
So should he be suspended? I'm sorry to say yes, he should, just because of what the NFL is trying to do to protect players, supposedly. They are trying to protect them, but they're trying to protect themselves, first of all. But I'd have to say he has to be.
Yeah.
By the way, Richard put a dent in you in that playoff game, didn't he? The 85 Bears?
Yes, and his thing, and they tried to hold me up.
They did.
You could hear him yelling, hold him up, hold him up. I'm like, oh, you dirty.
Do you remember how many yards you got in that game?
50, I think.
Yeah, I know Danny from his days in Denver. And as I said, ED, for someone his size, he comes downhill. He's a thumper. He'll thump you now. And because he doesn't have a history, this is why I believe he'll get, at bare minimum, one game. He might get two because national televised. Everybody saw this, and we're trying to protect the players. We're not trying to give out another $1 billion settlement. So we're going to make sure we're going to try to clean this up. Because remember, they used to have jacked ups. They used to have big hits, and they'd all package it together. And then when this lawsuit, we don't want to glorify and glamorize that because that's what we're trying to get out of the ball game. They're doing the heads up.
Yep.
But he led with the crown of his helmet. He hit the guy directly in his face. It's not a good look for the NFL.
Nope.
And as I tweeted last night, it's going to be very difficult for the NFL not to sit him down. So I think he's going to get at bare minimum one game. He might get two. But because he doesn't have a history, I think that's why they'll be lenient on him if suspension is lenient. But if he'd had a history, he might got the Vontez perfect. He might have got 3 or 4 games for this hit.
I agree. He will get a game that he does not deserve. I think he's a good guy who just plays as hard as anybody I see play. And he was rallying to the ball in a rivalry that most people don't understand. It's the oldest rivalry in pro football. And Bears are taught, and I covered the Bears for 3 years in Chicago, they are taught from rookie on, you hate those guys.
Yeah.
They're your arch rivals. So is the emotion running a little higher and hotter than you? Okay, I get that. But he has no history of this, no reputation for this, only a reputation for playing hard and fast game after game. And I think he was victimized a little bit by a reaction of his teammates immediately that most people misinterpreted. They thought they had the ball because the ball got ejected because he was out like a light, man. Like he was gone before he hit the ground. So obviously if the mouthpiece is going to fly, the ball is going to be ejected, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
So the Bears are falling on the ground, and Pernell McPhee, number 92, is down on the ground, sees the ball in a Bear's hand, and he jumps up like this. Well, he's celebrating the football
Right.
because it's 21-7, and they think Mike Glennon had just had one good drive, so maybe they think he's got one more inning, and they can make it a ball game.
Right.
But it looked like they were celebrating an ugly hit, a scary bad hit, and I just don't. I wouldn't give him a game, but to your point, in today's NFL, they have to be in the mode of protecting the shield.
And Robert,
Yeah.
we played the Raiders one year, Skip, and I was cooking them. And Greg Townsend was the defensive end. You know Town. And I was cooking them. And we were pretty good friends. We would always talk during the game. I talked to him after the game, but I was cooking them that day. And caught one for like 52 yards.
52? You remember that?
Touchdown?
Yeah, I went to the house.
Okay.
And I was talking to him, Skip. You know, I had the ball like here, and the guy swiped that, and I snatched it back from him.
Really?
So we came back on field for the next play. He said, hey, he told Dan Land and Eddie Anderson, man, y'all hit Sharpe in the throat. We'll take this 15-yard penalty, but y'all need to get his ass up out of here. I'm like, Town, we cool. He's like, yeah, we cool, but he didn't get your ass up out of here. That's the way they thought.
Okay.
You play a rival like that, and if you see Adams, 38 has him up, but Adams is trying to push forward. Remember, that's the old door. You know when somebody pushes the door, you push it. And when he caught him flush, Skip, he's getting the game at bare minimum. And the only reason he's not going to get more than that because he doesn't have a history. But he's going to get a game.
And the thing is, he said, I'm going to reach out to him. And, my main concern that he's okay.
Yeah.
Now, in our game,
It wasn't no reaching out.
we don't care.
Reach out.
We trying to knock you out.
Yes.
Did you knock him out? Yeah. Good. Because the next day in the film, they're like, run that back. Look at that right there. He out for you.
You might have got a couple of dollars for it.
Well, you know they call them, we had bounties.
Okay, so which I
Call them bounties. They had
Seth Joyner knows all about bounties. It's the Dallas Cowboys. He does.
Let's just say, if
Well, he does.
if one of your good,
I agree.
if one of your good players on offense didn't finish the game, let's just say we weren't disappointed.
Okay, so which game was better, your NFL or today's NFL?
Our NFL.
At the expense of?
Yeah, you
I hate
pay
to say it, yeah.
you pay the price.
We'll leave it there before we get in trouble. Eric, thanks for joining us.
No mercy.
Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdown passes in last night's win against the Bears. Greg Jennings is with us. Greg, how would you grade Aaron's performance?
I would have to give him a B, a soft, easy B, simply because they went into this, Mike McCarthy being the they in the Green Bay Packers, went into this game understanding their opponent. They're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
They run the ball. So let's try to establish our run. Their first 3 plays, all run plays. First down, second down, third down, first down. Come back again, pass. Next 2 plays, run. It was evident from the jump, Aaron, let's turn around and hand this ball off. Let's establish our running game tonight, against this team that we know they're not going to put the ball in the air. They're not going to put up a ton of points. So we need to work in this area. Let's do this. We don't need you to throw 40-plus times, 45-plus times tonight. So his grade it doesn't have to not be an A, but he missed a couple throws early. He was high, a little long, and then the throws that he did make, they were easy dink and dunks. His 4 touchdown plays was 4 of the easiest touchdowns that he probably has thrown. Jordy has definitely caught in his career. Chicago didn't pose a threat for them from a passing standpoint. This was a game that I saw Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, specifically Mike McCarthy, who's a prideful guy, who if you tell him your team, your offensive line is tougher than my defensive line or your defensive line is tougher than my offensive line, I'm going to prove you wrong. And that's what he set out to do last night. They wanted to establish their run. Ty Montgomery went down, or I believe they run the ball more than they passed the ball. Then Jamal Williams goes down, and you're stuck with your third rookie, Aaron, what's his last name? Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, who played well, but
He did.
Their mindset last night, and the reason why I'm giving Aaron a B is because it wasn't on his shoulders last night.
I gave him an A plus 10. A plus.
Well, that's subjective on your part.
Playing without 2 starting tackles. That's why they ran the ball, Greg. And you lose both the running back and a receiver. And he throw 4 tubs with no picks. Because Because I know guess what Chicago did to Ben Roethlisberger last week? They held them to 22 or 39 for 235, 1 touchdown. That's what they did to Big Ben. Now, which one of those receivers that Aaron Rodgers has better than Antonio Brown?
I don't know, but Aaron's got.
Oh, whoa. No, I'm going to let you go. Which one of those running backs that Aaron Rodgers have better than Le'Veon Bell?
Boy, Ty looked like Le'Veon for a while.
Don't do
last
that,
night.
Skip.
Well, he did.
That's
until he
so
got his
unbecoming
ribs
to you.
cracked.
Well, look, I knew the Bears weren't going to do anything. Because let me tell you something about Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon plays just enough on occasion to get himself paid, but he'll get the coach fired. That's what Mike Glennon is.
He had one good drive last night.
Yeah. You know what? I know a guy that knows a guy that doesn't have a job at the quarterback position that could have did exactly what Mike Glennon did last night. But he's better than Mike Glennon, and he won't have 4 turnovers. But wore number 7, went to a Super Bowl, went to the NFC Championship game. But we're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Jersey that's still selling.
Yeah, they still selling like hotcakes too, Skip. I give them an A+ for the simple fact: how many quarterbacks can go into a game without their 2 starting tackles, lose your 2 running backs, lose a receiver, and still come out and play the well? Because we know this, Chicago still plays defense. They still get after you now. They get after you.
I thought so. I'm not sure about that after last night.
Yeah, but Skip, what team you know with a quarterback like Mike Glennon turns the ball over 4 times and the defense still can go just shut you down? No. Chicago doesn't have that's not the '85 Bears now. That's the 2017 Bears. And they can ill afford to have their offense to put them in harm's way, especially 4 times. You're not overcoming that, playing that guy. But to do what he was able to do, and then you had the weather delay, Skip. There's a lot going on. You know, he trying to get this unity, this solidarity thing going. He had a lot on his plate.
He did.
But for him to go out there and play like he did, you know, I remember, on Tuesday, you gave a guy A because he had a couple of good throws. He had 3 good throws, and so he got an A. So Aaron Rodgers is A++. He like the little.
You agreed with me about Dak.
You better agree with me on Aaron.
I might surprise you. I just
Well,
might.
go ahead. What you give me?
I'm not going to go plus.
But you go.
I'll go A-. I'll give you A-, and that's pretty good for me.
No, what's the minus? What you get? What's the minus for?
I'll tell you what the minus is for. If I read this game line to you from the 2 quarterbacks, if I told both of you yesterday that my crystal ball told me that Aaron Rodgers is going to go 18 for 26 for 179 yards. I mean, you guys used to have 179 and a quarter, right? You and Aaron?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're making it happen.
Hey, well, you were, seriously. And if I told you Mike Glennon would go 21 or 33 for 218, you'd say, uh-oh, the Packers might be in a little trouble in this game, right? Nope, they were in no trouble from the start because Aaron Rodgers, to me, in the red zone, was as surgical as I have ever seen him. He was as quick and sharp with the ball and in his mind. It was just like, pew, pew. These are the money throws, and they're hard to, you know how hard it is to, when the defense is stacked in the, you know, when I'm rooting for a team, when it becomes 1st and goal at the 7, I'm like, oh God, because it's just hard to get it in the end zone, man.
Well, we know you're not running the goal or post. You run out of room, dip and stairs.
So Aaron Rodgers' touchdown passes last night, and there were 4 of them. They were for 5 yards and 2 yards and 4 yards, and finally a bomb, 8 yards to Jordy at the end of the game that clinched it, right?
Yep.
And I don't know, did anybody even look at Jordy? Like he's in the slot, but nobody takes it?
They blew a lot of coverages.
What are you doing?
You got to play in, on the sprint option. You either got to play in or out, or you got to play off, and the corner plays up on the outside, or you got to press the inside guy. But you can't
you switch it.
Yeah, let's play in and out. If he comes in, I got him. He goes out, you got him. That's the way you play that, Alabama.
So So now for my minus, my A-.
Yes.
Aaron's long throw of the night went for 58 yards to Jordy, and when the ball's in the air, I'm thinking it's going to get picked because it's an underthrow. Can we see this play to Jordy? It's the one right down the seam here. Steps up. That's pretty sweet. And here it goes. And at this point, I think there are 2 Bears in the vicinity, and somebody's going to get their hands on the football. And Jordy stopped cold. It's underthrown. I don't know if it was intentional.
Intentionally.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Because he had to just stop cold and catch the ball. And then Jordy turns around like there's a moment of hesitation, like, what's going on? Is nobody going to hit me here?
Yeah,
no, nobody's going to hit
when
you.
you catch that, you're kind of lost. You think
Yeah.
a defender's going to
Yeah.
hit you, but that throw is intentional.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Boy,
Anytime
it looked like interceptable.
the
to me.
way quarterbacks think, specifically Aaron Rodgers, if I see the back of the defender's jerseys running away, underthrow it. They don't see where the ball is. My guy is looking back at me, so
Well, they do
underthrow it,
have-
he'll stop and adjust.
They do have necks that I think swivel. I don't know. Maybe they could like look around for the
A
football.
defender is in panic mode
Yes.
when a receiver is running
Exactly.
by him.
Because we know he's the fastest receiver in the league, right?
Stop, Skip.
Well, I don't know.
Hey, he gets behind.
Yeah, I bet he can outrun Dez Bryant. I
Give
bet you he
that.
could do
Well,
that.
how can I argue against that? Right now, he could outrun Ezekiel Elliott.
No,
I don't
stop.
know.
No, he ain't gonna outrun.
Huh?
He ain't gonna outrun Zeke.
I know he can outrun Shannon Sharpe, but that's
Oh, Jordy? Yeah, Jordy, get your boy. He
Yeah.
better.
yeah.
Your boy about to be 50.
You just gave one up right there.
But I get Jason Witten. Jason Witten, Jason Taylor, Jason Bourne, or I get all them.
You could not get Jason Bourne.
Oh yeah, I run Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne?
Jason Bourne, Jason Taylor, anybody,
Shannon, you
Jason
pull a
Day.
hamstring so fast.
I would. But I
So
get
fast.
not racing Jason
But
Witten.
you were finished?
Oh yeah, I get Jason Witten.
No mercy. The Cowboys are 6.5-point favorites Sunday at home against the Rams, but Dallas has struggled running the ball this season, ranking 22nd in the league. Some have put the blame on Ezekiel Elliott, but he responded to his critics yesterday. Take a listen.
Zeke, there were some people that talking about that 3rd and 1 where you're saying you didn't think you could have stayed vertical. Some people are saying that's a play last year you take to the house, and they're saying that maybe you're a half a step slower. The people that are saying that, what's your response to that?
Shut up.
Fair enough. So you don't feel like you're any slower?
No.
No. Okay.
We've had a little bit of growing pains, in the first couple of games, but we're getting there. We're getting into a rhythm, and we're just planning on getting better every week.
Skip, what's your pick for Sunday?
By the way, I despise they say questions.
Who are they?
They say. I'm going to own it because I said it because I was tweeting during the game. This doesn't look like the same guy from last year, but I'm going to get to that in just a moment. Back to your question. I told you last Friday, I fear this game for my Dallas Cowboys. And the great irony of this is when I looked down the schedule, when it came out April 22nd or whatever it was, I fixated on the Ram game, and I thought, oh, thank you. We got one easy one. Yeah. Oh, catch your breath after the games at Denver, at Arizona. Obviously, they open with the rival Giants. And I thought, ahead of Green Bay, they get a little breather, and then they get a bye. So everything will be okay. Green Bay, obviously, big revenge game in Jerry World for the playoff. Mason crossbar.
Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that.
Don't get me started. The LA Rams now look like, to me, a team on the verge. A very dangerous team that now, believe it or not, leads the NFC in point differential and leads the National Football League in scoring, 36 points a game. What? Jared Goff, now that Jeff Fisher is out of the way and Sean McVay has come in, is turning back into the player I thought he'd be when he came out of Cal. And guess what? Tom Brady leads the NFL in QBR, and then comes Matt Ryan, then comes Matt Stafford, and then comes Jared Goff. He's 4th. That's pretty rarefied air for young Jared Goff in his sophomore season after he was written off as a bust last year. And he can throw it long to Sammy Watkins, about as dangerous a deep throw as I've seen so far in the league, and Robert Woods can hurt you. You don't
Buffalo
think so?
couldn't use those 2 guys.
No, I guess not. I don't know. Tavon Austin, still a breakaway threat. And that young Cooper Kupp they got is a nice possession receiver, so he's got weapons. And then all of a sudden, Todd Gurley's starting to look like Todd Gurley again. Running it and catching it because he's tied for the lead in receptions. So they got it all working. And my team did not have it working at Arizona because my team flipped the script and still survived. Wait, Arizona ran 75 plays to my team's 45 plays? In the ball control that saved us again and again last year? Wait, Arizona had 36 minutes to 24 minutes, and Dak Prescott made 3 plays that saved not the day, but the night in this game. And I'm here to tell you, the Rams are going to score some points, maybe a whole lot of points, because Sean Lee, linebacker you don't love, but I do, he's got a hamstring issue. I'm not even sure he's going to be able to go this game. Yeah? You think he couldn't run to begin with?
Don't do
with a
that.
good
Don't do
hamstring.
that. Don't put that on me.
All of which brings me back to Ezekiel Elliott. Again, I tweeted this probably 3 different times. What's up with him? Is he hurt? He looks dare I say, like he's gained a couple of extra pounds. I'm seeing maybe a second little chin there that I didn't see last year. He doesn't look as sleek as he did. I'm not saying he's lost a step because he's getting older, but he just, something's missing. There's not the burst into the hole. Did he lose a little confidence against your guys up in Denver? Maybe. But when that 3rd and 1 play happened at the 15 and he got loose out to the right, I'm saying, what? Oh, that wasn't it. Ooh, I've seen that way too many times. But when he got loose, here we go. Yep, Honey Badger missed the shot. I'm thinking it's house.
No.
I'm thinking he's going to the house, and he's like running in mud. And I'm saying, Zeke, where's the 4.4 speed that I saw against Alabama in the national semifinal when you ran for 230 yards against Ain't Nick's defense? Where was it?
But Pat Peterson runs 4.3.
Well, but Zeke, you remember that play at Pittsburgh last year? Remember the one where it was a screen pass and he took it like 70 yards to the house?
No.
Oh, wait, there it is. Let's see how this looks. Does that not look like a sleeker Zeke?
If he's running in the wide open field.
Oh, is anybody going to catch him? Boy, it looks like he's pulling away. Who knew? That's 4.4. That's a high school hurdles champion.
Skip.
Hey,
Will you
so
please
I'm
stop?
saying that guy better reemerge at some point. You know what? He's been going through a lot off the field.
Yeah.
You know how much of the camp he had to spend preparing his legal case, right?
Yeah, I mean, it should be.
Hey.
I know it was a lot on his mind. And so, hey, it's hard. It's easy to say, you're a professional and you're supposed to block that out, but it's hard.
It's hard.
This is his career.
And
this
you know
is
what
life.
happens to most people when they're under extreme stress?
They
eat. They just eat.
I don't know anything
comfort
about
food. You don't know anything about that.
Like comfort hummus,
So
carrot sticks.
before I hand it off to you, this is my gut feeling, but it may be more with heart than head. I think my Cowboys survive again by outscoring the Rams because I think they can score. I think, once again, Dak's going to have a big game, but I'm going to go 31-28 home team in this one, but I think the Rams are going to get every bit of 28 against that defense.
It's funny, Skip, because I got it the other way. I got 30-27 Rams. Oof. I got because, as you mentioned, they can score the football. They have weapons. I mean, you look at Sammy Watkins. The Bills traded up to get him and had to give up the first-round pick the following year.
What are they doing? I know he's been
nicked up, but when he's been on the field, he's been very productive. Now he was in concussion protocol. He and Tavon Austin, but they were full participants yesterday. So I expect them to play on Sunday. Robert Wood, they took a tight end early. Everett, they have weapons now. And Jared Goff, he's the best quarterback in the draft last year. He's showing it. He's showing it. That's why we took him number 1 overall. We, notice I said we.
Yeah, everybody the Cowboys play, it makes you a we.
It's a we.
Yeah.
We, me and ED, that's me and ED squad.
Yeah.
And Tremaine Johnson, 6'2", 211 pounds.
Is he going to put the handcuffs on
Big
88?
Big physical corner.
Yeah.
See, he don't have that start-stop. Now, everybody's like, well, look what Pierre Garçon. Pierre Garçon is quick. Marquise Goodwin, quick.
He is.
Dez Bryant opens up, give you all chest to hit. He don't rip. He doesn't makes himself skinny, trying to get away. So I like that matchup. But the matchup, and I'm going to get to Zeke in a minute. The matchup that I really want to see, I want to see Aaron Donald and Zach Martin. That's the game within the game. That defensive line, they can play Robert Quinn. They can get after your quarterback. And so Dak's gonna have to, use his legs a little bit more than maybe what he's been. Because I don't believe that they're gonna be able to get open. All those first-round picks that they have on the Rams defense, they're loaded with picks.
Just loaded everywhere.
Mark Barron, they moved him from safety. He's like a weak side of Willie linebacker. So I love it. Back to Zeke. 2 things are in play here, Skip. That offensive line, and I think defensive coaches and defensive linemen, defensive players in general, I'm tired of hearing about how good the Dallas Cowboys offensive line is. I'm tired of hearing they have the 3 best offensive linemen of 5 men that play that position. I'm tired of hearing about how good Tyron Smith and Travis Frederick and Zach Martin. I'm tired of hearing about it. Skip,
By the way, Ty Smith gave up a whiff sack the other night, where he just completely whiffed.
Oh, Chandler Jones got it. He hit him with the okie doke. Gave him the head fake outside and crossed his face. But Skip, when you don't have running room, and if you noticed a lot of those plays, you're like, come on. You're like, no, that's not the play I wanted to see. He's not getting that 5.5, 6 yards on first down. more times than not, he's barely getting back to the line of scrimmage if he's getting back there at all.
By the way, quick stat from Arizona game. On 18 of his 22 carries, Zeke had a total of 15 yards. So he had the 4 good plays, but he had 18 other plays in which he totaled 15 yards. Well, how many none-yard games did you see where you just got knocked back as we saw?
And that's the thing. He looks a little heavy to me, Skip. Now, when he rolls that shirt up now, last year and in college, you saw a six-pack. It's a little pony keg. Now, I'm not saying it's not something that we can't take off, but it's hard to do that during the season, Skip, because
I agree.
You're trying to, you're trying to stay healthy, so you're not doing all the conditioning because you're trying to save your legs for the game. I just believe if the line were to block better and give him an opportunity to get to the hole like they did last year, because remember, sometimes he wasn't getting hit till he was 10 yards down the field. We've seen very few of those plays. Plus, he had the 100-plus yards in game 1. He had the 8 yards in game 2, and then he did go for 88 in game 3. So he's on pace to get 1,000 yards, but we haven't seen those explosive plays that we saw last year.
And I don't know how much it has mattered that Chaz Green got moved in at left guard for now your guy, Ronald Leary, and Lyle Collins had to move out to right tackle and plays with Doug Free. And I don't know, maybe it's just the coordination of it is not right yet.
But, Skip, when you hear something over and over, Dallas got the best offensive line. They run block. They protect Dak. Them defensive linemen, hold on. Y'all must be thinking we some slappies up in here. Y'all must be thinking we some flunkies.
I'm with you.
And if you look at the way teams are playing, they are attacking them. They're getting up
Attacking them. At Denver, at Arizona, they got their golden tails whipped both times. Whipped.
So, 30-27. 30-27.
You're going with the big upset, but the betting public's kind of on your side because it opened at Dallas -8, and now it's been bet all the way down to 6.5. That's a pretty significant drop.
Well, the odds makers still don't have a whole lot of confidence because normally the home team gets 3 points. And so if you open up at 8, they really don't have any confidence in the Rams. And even 6, so it basically said that even with all the money coming in on the Rams, they're still saying we believe you're a touchdown underdog.
Yep. I would bet you a case of due on this, but you don't have any real conviction on that pick.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I will on Monday.
I'm sure
You're
you
not feeling
will.
good about it?
I feel good. Jared Goff come in and throw for like 315 and 3 tubs.
Well, they did give up 421 yards of total offense against San Francisco last Thursday. So.
Who won that game?
Okay, but
how many yards did y'all give up
saying.
against what you call them? The
What you call them got a lot.
what you call them?
What you call them got a whole lot.
Broncos and the Arizona. The guy that they called that phantom holding call.
Who won that game?
I believe you that Buffalo Wild Wings. You buzzed the referee.
I did.
You made him throw a flag.
It's the first time I ever visited Buffalo.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back at the same time on Monday morning, 9:30 Eastern. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.